begin where we left off, which is on page 31 of your manual. It's about parallel POE. So this section is about what to do when you have a question that is very general. So maybe you don't have the line references anymore. So if you take a look at question number 2, it says, in the passage, Darrow draws a distinction between. That's talking about the whole passage. So that's very general. And notice that's number 2. So if you were going in order and you tried to start with that question, you wouldn't be able to answer it because remember, you haven't read the whole passage yet. Then remember, the citation should support the correct answer. So a lot of times, like in number 3, ask what's the best evidence for the answer to the previous question. The best evidence is going to help you get to the answer for this question, and they're going to work together. So this is a little bit of an advanced strategy. You might not be at the level yet where you're wanting to use it. This is more of a when you get to 700 strategy, but if you're pushing for 700, it is something to consider. So we're first going to take a look at question number 3 and see which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question. So I want you to go ahead and look at lines 3 through 7 and see if it matches any of the answer choices in number 2. So for example, if you take a look at lines 3 through 7, pause the video here and go read it. And when you come back, let's take a look. And if you see lines 3 through 7, do they talk about actions that are illegal and actions that are morally wrong? No. Do they talk about the opinions of legislatures and rituals of an organized society? No. Do they talk about criminals and individuals who are inherently virtuous? Yes. So I'm going to make a note by right here, I'm going to make a note and say 2C. Let's see. So I would mark 2C next to my annotation. I can't do it on this one, but 2C. And then B, does that match anything? Go ahead and read B. Pause the video and go read. Does it match anything? No. So we're going to cross out B. Your B should have an X over it. What about C? Does C match anything from number 2? Yes, C matches 2A. And in the lines from C, they're talking about actions that are illegal and actions that are morally wrong. So we're going to write 2A right here. And then finally, lines D, do they match any of the answers from number 2? Make sure you pause to read. No, so we're going to cross out D. So if your book is marked up like it should be, next to answer A for number 3, you're going to have written 2C. B will be X'd out. C will be written next to it will be 2A. And D will be crossed out. So we're now looking at either A or C for question number 3. So now we're going to go back to question number 2 and read the passage. In the passage, Darrow draws a distinction between. Is this a what or a why question? It's a what question. So you're going to write what next to your answer choice. Let's see. Oh, I can write. Here we go. This is a what question. All right. So now we're going to go back, and we know the only ones that have matches in this answer are A and C. So now we know that B is wrong. We'll X that one out. And D is wrong because in the best evidence question, these don't have any best evidence matches. So now we just have to figure out which one works the best. And so here we can see that in lines 3 through 7, does this really explain what's going on here, or is this kind of just in general, are the lines all over the place? And you'll find the lines are a little all over the place. So C is not going to be correct, and that's going to leave us with answer choice A, which I'll circle. I'm really bad, I'm sorry. And then we'll put a check next to it. And then here, remember, we've now eliminated A as a choice. And now that my pen tool is working, we'll go back to eliminate B like we did earlier, and we had eliminated D. And C is the only answer option left. So we're gonna circle that and put a check mark by it. And that's our parallel POE. So here we would have written 2A, because that matched answer choice 2A. And this one we would have written 2C. Now notice in doing this, this is a bit more of a challenging question, but you can see that in our writing and in our work, we see that it's kind of like a BOGO question, because this question and this question go together, and we've already looked at these lines and found what they match. So we were able to eliminate a lot of answer choices based on seeing what they didn't match. However, the basic approach is the most common process. So when you're doing the basic approach, that's usually what you're going to do more often. This is a special strategy, like I said, to use only if you're at like a score of 700 or above. So now, finally, you'll be able to move on to the last questions, which are more general questions. Once again, this is question number 1. So if you started with this question, it's the very first question you're going to see. The position that Darrow takes is primarily that of blank. If you hadn't read the passage, which you're not supposed to, you would have no idea. But now at this point, you've done all the other questions, or at least most of them. You have some type of idea of what position Darrow has. So now you can use their strategies and the basic approach to answer this question. So we selected the question. We had already read the blurb. Now we selected the question. Now you have to understand the question. The position that Darrow takes is primarily that of blank. Is this a what or a why question? And you can see it is indeed a what question. So I'm going to write what here in my margins. I know the writing is terrible. I'm sorry. And then what is his position in the reading? Is he an authority arguing a particular point of view? Yes, I would agree. He is arguing a particular point of view. Is he a critic discounting the opinion of an uninformed adversary? No. Is he a jurist advocating the rights of citizens to defend themselves? No. Is he an intellectual presenting a historical overview? No, he is not. Some people might get tripped up by this answer choice because he does give a little bit of history, but the rest of the paper is not really about the history, and a historical overview would be much longer. So in this case, our correct answer choice is the only one with a check mark by it, and that's answer choice A. So that's how to do the general questions with the basic approach. Now what I would like you to do is practice the basic approach drill, and you will find the answers posted for you on Google Classroom. But when I see you next, I want to see that you completed this and that you marked up your booklet with all of the strategies that we've been using. So that's the end of this first video, and you can watch the second video for the second piece of today's work after you've done the basic approach drill, which is on pages 33 to 35.